Okay, so this lesson is about binomial expansion, and you might have already done this. I just want to make sure that we cover this one because this is a prerequisite on the rational composition of rational functions that the teacher have given you. All right, so say for example, we have it's called binomial expansion because inside the parentheses you have a binomial term, meaning you have first term being a and second term b, and it's raised. This binomial is raised to the power of 3. Now this one is similar to that, only that b is negative. Okay, so it's binomial again because the first term is a, second term is negative b. All right, so if you have this type of binomial, when you expand this, I needed you to look at your first term and the second term. Okay, so because the formula is really quite easy. All right, you start with your first term, you cube that. Okay, so that's cube plus 3 a squared. I'm gonna just write it, and I wanted you to look at the pattern if you have not found it out yet. All right, okay, so what's happening here is that you have 4 terms here. So you started with a cubed, so that's power of 3, okay, plus 3a. So look at the power of 3 here is 2, and then times b plus 3a. Now the power of a here is 1. So really your power of a of your first term is descending from 3 to 1. And actually there's an a to the power of 0 here, but that's equal to 1, so you don't really write it. Okay, so now as your A descends, your B ascends. So your B here, this is B to the 0. You don't write it because it's just equal to 1. Now look at your B. This is a power of 1, and then power of 2, power of 3. So this is really just how you expand. If you want to memorize it, that's great. If not, uh, I don't know whatever will help you anyway. All right, now if the second term is negative, it really is just similar to that. Okay, so look, I'm gonna write it exactly as shown with your terms. Okay, so same terms, but what's gonna happen is that because this is negative, your signs will alternate. So this is positive, negative, positive, negative. Okay, all right, so these are your two formulas for when you want to expand a binomial to a third power. Okay, so let's practice some. Okay, so example, I will take the second example because this is similar to your problem. Okay, so say for example we wanted to expand um x minus 2 to the power of 3. Okay, so this is your first term, this is your second term. So remember, first term cubed, blah blah blah, just copy that basically. So the first term will be cubed, x cubed, and since this is minus, you will have an alternate, right? So this is a minus, and then you have a plus, and then a minus later on. Okay, so x times minus 3 a squared. Your a is x, so this is gonna be x squared times the second term, which is 2. Okay, so you don't write negative 2 because the negative is already taken care of here. All right, now copy here 3, and then your first term is x, and then b squared, meaning your 2 is going to get squared. So I don't want you to simplify just yet. Just write it out just like this. Make it a habit, and then on the second step we will simplify it. And then lastly, the fourth term, which is 2 to the power of 3. Okay. Now, once you write that, we will simplify. Well, you can't do anything about it, so just copy that. And then this one here is negative 3 times 2, so you have minus 6x squared, right? And then now plus 3x2 squared. 2 squared is 4 times 3, that's 12. 12x minus 2 to the cube is 8. So this is your expanded form. Okay, now let's try another one of a simpler type. All right, maybe we can put some fraction. Okay, so let's add some fraction here. Let's say 2x minus 1/3. Okay, all right, so this is all your first term, this is all your second term. All right, so first term, you need to cube the first term, so you have 2x. If you have more than one factor, you need to enclose it in parentheses. You cube that minus 3 times the first term, which is 2x squared times the second term 1/3. Oops, that should be 1/3. Okay, plus 3a, which is the first term 2x, times the second term 1/3 squared minus b squared here. B squared, so meaning the last term, which is 1/3 cubed. Alright, and then of course we need to simplify this. Alright, so let's try to simplify it. Alright, so when you cube this, you need to cube the 2, you need to cube the x. So this becomes 8x cubed, okay? Equal minus. Alright, so you have 2 squared, so don't forget you're squaring that. 2 squared times 3, that's 6, times 1/3, so you have 4, right? This 3 and that 1/3 will cancel out basically, so you're left with that. So you have 4x squared. Do not forget to square x. Plus, let's go over here. So now you have 3, and this one here, 1/3 squared, that is 1/9, right? 1 square, 3 square, so that's 1/9. Times 3, the 3 will cancel out with 1/3, so you have 1/3 left, times 2, so you have 2/3 x. Now you may need to have a really good command in your fractions here. If not, then I don't know. If you're not allowed to use a calculator, then you'll just have to practice. Alright, minus 1/3 cube, meaning you cube the 1, you cube the 3, so you have 1/27. Alright, so that is your simplified form. Now we will go over to the one that is similar to your problem. Okay.